everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Spawn podcast. I'm coming at you guys here on Sunday, August 17th. I know I kind of deviated away from the normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule this week. It was pretty hectic for me. I had to go upstate New York to Syracuse throughout the week. And then I also had my fiance's birthday, and I'm going away from Monday the 18th to Monday the 25th. So my schedule's just been all out of sorts, planning for that also. So yeah, you guys are going to be getting today's episode where we're going to talk about my 5 most interesting teams for the 2026 NBA season. There'll be timestamps below in the audio, the YouTube description for those 5 teams as well. Still not 100% sure the schedule for next week. I would still like to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the following Monday. There's a chance I miss one day in there as we're also in like the dry part of the NBA offseason. But I'm excited to talk about these 5 teams today. I'm actually really excited for today's episode. And before we get into the 5 teams, I just want to give a just quick video to you guys, and you'll hear it on audio about today's sponsor, the Farmer's Dog. I recently did an ad for them on my Sauce channel, and I wanted to also sponsor here today's podcast with the Farmer's Dog. And if you have a dog, I definitely recommend listening to for the next few minutes. So before we get back into the video, I want to give a word from today's sponsor, the Farmer's Dog. As someone who never had a dog growing up, I really didn't know too many of the ins and outs when it comes to raising a dog, especially when it comes to their food. And that's why I love the Farmer's Dog, who's educated me the proper way to feed your dog, and that's giving them fresh food. My dog's name is Tucker, and being able to give Tucker a pre-portioned meal plan has made it easy to help my dog maintain their healthy weight. And the Farmer's Dog food is made and tested in facilities with the same safety standards as human food. Food from the Farmer's Dog is gently cooked, which preserves vital nutrients that can help support your dog's immune system function. And the Farmer's Dog is suitable for any dog at any age, because your dog's plan will be personalized to ensure that they get the specific nutrition they need, whether they're a puppy or a senior. And here's the quiz that you can sign up with on the Farmer's Dog. You just put in how many dogs you have, and they personalize it to your dog's name as well, which is really cool. And then you type in your dog's age, you type in what type of dog they are, put in their weight and their body condition, their activity level, how are they as an eater, between very picky to will eat anything, and then you can put in what type of food they currently eat right now. Like my dog is currently eating dry food, any health issues, or a prescription diet, and then they calculate what food is best for you. It's that quick, that easy, and that simple with their recommended plan. And I started giving my dog Tucker the pre-portioned meals, and he has loved it so far, and I'm really excited to see the progress he's going to make over the next few weeks with the Farmer's Dog. And I love that the meals are delivered ready to eat in the packs, that they are already pre-portioned specifically for your dog's needs based on the info you provide during the sign up. I was able to take a quiz, and they made it super easy for me to get the food delivered straight to my doorstep. And dogs at a healthy weight have been shown to live up to 2.5 years longer than overweight dogs. So anything I can do to help my dog maintain that healthy lifestyle, I want to do it. And they also offer a 24/7 support with the best in class customer service as well if you have any questions. And you also get a bunch of stuff in your first box: a cooler bag, a reusable container, welcome packet, and obviously your pre-portioned specialized food. And I've eased in my dog with the kibble and the fresh food, and then we're going to fully transition to the full food going forward, and I'm really excited for it. And the Farmer's Dog is running a great promotion for you guys, my viewers, with dogs out there, to get 50% off your first box of freshly made healthy dog food by using my link in the description or the pinned comment below. Plus, you'll get free shipping and a 24/7 customer support with your order. And you can click the link in the description or the pinned comment, as well as the QR code you could see on your screen now. And thank you again to the Farmer's Dog for sponsoring today's video. All right, so the first team that I think most interested about in the 2026 season, maybe not the most interesting team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Obviously, I could talk about some of the best teams, and maybe I'm gonna have some really good teams here, but I think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to just be a fascinating watch. And I think like what can go into the most interesting too, I could see the Memphis Grizzlies being the 13th seed in the Western Conference next year, and I wouldn't be totally shocked if they were like the 5th seed in the West. Like there is a chance the Memphis Grizzlies could be better than the Lakers, better than the Warriors, better than the Clippers in the regular season, better than the Timberwolves in the regular season, better than the Spurs, Mavericks. Like that is not completely out of the question. Are the odds high? No, but this team has Ja Morant, who's had all NBA seasons before, who was fantastic after they fired Taylor Jenkins, and even before that, he was really heating up after the All-Star break, given what they did with him throughout the regular season, kind of just having him stand in the corner at times, not involving him like with a super high usage rate throughout the year. And they were trying to incorporate this Euro style of basketball, like free-flowing movement. Desmond Bane is no longer here. Jaren Jackson Jr. got extended this offseason. And this team does look different. It doesn't look drastically different, but it's going to be different in 2026 than it was in 2025. A team that was still in the play-in tournament, that at one point was like the 2 seed and 3 seed in the second half of the NBA season. Like the Grizzlies were good last year. They were disappointing to some standards, but they were still a good team. And they made the playoffs and lost as the 8 seed, right? Like they beat the Dallas Mavericks in the play-in tournament. So obviously, like you guys are going to see on the YouTube screen, just kind of like their roster going into next year, just on spot track right now. And I'm not really going to talk about like the 2026 offseason too much. Like, yes, there could be question marks then. And there's the 2026 draft where they have the Sun swap now from the Bane trade. But there are so many, like, I think, fun names to watch next year. One, how motivated and locked in will Ja Morant be? Last year, he was recovering from the season-ending shoulder surgery where he didn't have like a full offseason of ramp-up. Now he does, right? Like, as I know it, Ja Morant is healthy. There was a scary, like, dunk he did, I think, overseas. We kind of fell awkwardly. So hopefully he's good to go next year. Jaren Jackson Jr. has an injury right now. I mean, the Grizzlies have been cursed with offseason injuries. Like Gigi Jackson, just everybody's been hurt, I feel like, over the last few years within the offseason. Ja, Edie, Triple J. So hopefully he's good to go. I mean, he's fine because they gave him $50 million. I know it kind of came out after that. They renegotiated his 2026 contract where he's now making $35 million, about a $10 million increase. So they have new faces like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who wasn't like a horrible player last year. He was bad for what he's getting paid, but he wasn't a bad player overall. He's still like a 3-and-D wing guard in a minimal role. And I do think he'll be better in Memphis. I just like feel like under Tomas Isolo, I feel like we'll be able to just be in better spots. Ja Morant is going to have a ton of gravity. And who knows, maybe KCP's numbers would have looked better last year if Franz, Suggs, and Paolo weren't all injured. Now, there's no guarantee that like John Triple J will be healthy throughout the course of the year. It's just like KCP thrives off playing with these star players, and a lot of his star players in Orlando were banged up. So we'll see what like Tomas can do with the European style of play over here in Memphis, where he became the assistant to the head coach after they fired Taylor Jenkins. And they liked him enough to extend him, right? Like Memphis has been a culture team since they drafted Ja over the last few years with Dylan Brooks, who came and went, and Desmond Bane, who's no longer there. So I guess they were just done with Taylor Jenkins. Now you have KCP, that's new. They bought out Cole Anthony. Ty Jerome is new as well. So I thought it was an interesting strategy this offseason where they had Scottie Pippen Jr., who looked good last year. They had Cole Anthony, but he's gone. They drafted Javon Small, who's on a 2-way. But between Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Ja Morant, you have good point guard depth. And Ja Morant has had injury concerns. Like, he's played a similar amount of games over the last 3 years as somebody like Zion Williamson or LaMelo Ball or Brandon Ingram, which is very disappointing for Ja, given how good he was in 2022 and 2023. So now, God forbid, Ja does miss 20 games next year. You have at least good backup point guards to at least soften the blow, raise the floor, and this isn't going to go to shit. So you get Ty Jerome, who can also play off of Ja Morant, right? Like, he shot 40% from 3 last year. If you have good enough defenders out there, you can hide Ty Jerome defensively because Ja is a good enough defender out there at the 1. So you add Ty Jerome. You also added Cedric Howard throughout the draft, who was maybe the biggest wild card in the NBA draft, given that he only played 5 or 6 games at Washington State last year, dominating those games, looked the worst against probably the best team they played in Iowa, but man, there is 3-and-D potential. He's a physical specimen. He can knock down threes. He's got a good pull-up jumper on the baseline. He's a good athlete. And this is just like another Jalen Wells type player next to Ja Morant. I think Gigi Jackson will be better next year. If you remember, he had that offseason injury going into 2025 after a productive rookie year where everybody was hurt on Memphis, so he gets hurt. He doesn't have a proper ramp up, no summer league, or maybe he had summer league, but no training camp, no preseason. And he's just kind of getting thrown out there to a team that looks so different than his rookie year. Like, Ja's out there now. I was like, oh, I rarely played with this guy in my rookie year. Jaren Jackson Jr., who was hurt that year, I believe, was out there. Desmond Bane was hurt. So, like, everybody kind of had a new role from 2024 to 2025. I think Gigi Jackson will be better. Jalen Wells was an all-rookie first-team member last year. I don't think Jalen Wells is ever going to be an all-star. But, man, if he could just be in that role that he was for Memphis last year, which was very impressive for a second-round pick to next year, it's exactly what they need. And then they also added, like, you have Zach Edey, who I believe is injured going into year number 2, which is a shame. So hopefully he's good to go. But you have Santi Aldama, you have Brandon Clark, and you also picked up Jock Landale on the minimum. So they have some big man depth, which is good. They also gave Cam Spencer a guaranteed contract. He's like a 4th string point guard. fourth string shooting guard. You have John Conchar, who maybe will find some minutes. And then also, I didn't mention Vince Williams, who was really good for them a couple years ago, but wasn't too involved over the last few years, but still gave them surplus value for a second rounder. So I'm intrigued how Tumas Asalo looks to kind of navigate all these mouths to feed in Memphis, but we know Ja Morant's going to get the highest usage. Triple J's probably going to be number 2. Who's going to step up? Like, who would you bet averages the third most points in Memphis next year? Because I think there could be odds. It could be Santi Aldama. It could be KCP. It could be Brandon Clark. It could be Jalen Wells. It could be, who knows, Gigi Jackson or Scottie Pippen or Zach Edey, right? Like, there's a bunch of mouths to feed to get these guys involved in Memphis. I'm excited about the new style of play. I'm excited about Ja Morant being healthy this year. Jaren Jackson Jr. off that extension. He got his payday. How does he look off that as well? And just kind of Aldama got paid this offseason. Ty Jerome into the mix now. Can Scottie Pippen pick up what he did last year, where I thought he was great as a creative initiator and getting downhill and running in transition? Coward is such an X factor. GG Jack, like, there's a lot of X factors on this team. And I think that's what makes Memphis look so interesting. So I don't think they're going to be a 1 seed, probably not a 2 seed or a 3 seed, right? I think they're ceiling, right? If everything goes well, Ja Morant gets some MVP votes. He's an All-NBA second team guy. Jaren Jackson Jr., all-star caliber player, all defensive first team or second team again. And like, GG takes a leap, Wells takes a leap, Coward is legit right away. Like, somebody takes a leap right there. The ceiling for this Grizzlies team is probably the 4 or the 5 seed, right? If they win 48 games next year, which isn't impossible, that could be a 5 seed in the Western Conference. So I think that's their ceiling, 4 or 5 seed. Their floor, though, is probably, I don't know, like, unless this is a 2024 Grizzlies season with injuries, I can't see them being worse than Phoenix. Definitely not worse than Utah. I can't see them being worse than Portland. I don't know. They could be worse than Portland or New Orleans or Sacramento. I would say their floor is probably like the 12 seed. I don't think they're going to finish worse than that unless Ja Morant misses 50 games, Jaren Jackson Jr. misses 50 games, and KCP is continuing to regress. None of the young guys take steps going forward, and Ty Jerome was like a Cavs system merchant, right? So unless all those factors hit, which is like the absolute worst case scenario, and maybe they trade off some guys too, I think they should probably finish realistically. If the floor is the 12 seed, ceiling's the 4 seed, they're probably going to finish somewhere between 6 and 10. I think they're going to be a play-in team. Maybe 7 to 10. Like, I think the play-in is perfect for Memphis. Maybe they end up as the 11th seed if they have like a 30-game jaw injury, but everybody else is healthy. But either way, I think they're going to be fun to watch next year. I think there's some young guys to keep an eye on. I'm intrigued so much about like Cedric Coward. I hope Jemai Meshack gets some minutes for this team. I know he's not under a 2-way right now, but they're going to have him, I think, going forward. So yeah, the Grizzlies are my first like interesting team for the 2026 season. Next up, this actually may be my most interesting team next year, intriguing team, the Dallas Mavericks, for so many reasons. This is a team that could realistically be a 2 seed or 3 seed in the West. Like, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic here. Like, this team is insanely deep. The Mavericks were one of the most banged up teams last year. Like, we thought they were going to have to forfeit some games late in the year with all the injuries and 2-ways they used up. So I'm so fascinated about this team next year for so many guys we're about to talk about. So obviously, number 1, Cooper Flagg, right? Like, not Wemby level prospect, but not far behind him. He's like a Paolo Banchero level prospect, Zion Williamson level prospect in some ways, with the hype he had coming out of Duke. And yeah, all those guys came from Duke. And Cooper Flagg can be a top 20 defender, at least on the perimeter next year, right away. He could be a good rim protector as a help defender, and we'll see the 3-point shot, we'll see the turnover rate, we'll see the mid-range jumper, the finishing at the rim, the playmaking ability. But I think Cooper Flagg, like, I just made my small forward ranking video, and he was like 13. I think there's a really good chance he's a top 20 small forward next year. Anthony Davis, knock on wood, will be healthy on opening night, and he's going to be slotted in at the power forward. There are some like 80 center Cooper power forward minutes, but you have Daniel Gafford, who you just gave a $54 million extension to this offseason, as well as Derek Lively, who I remember after the 2024 season, he was going like number 5 in my redrafts to Orlando, or no, number 6 when they took Anthony Black. I don't know if that would still happen. Maybe not that high, but Derek Lively is still one of the more intriguing young big men in this league. So the front court is just absolutely stacked with those 4 guys of AD, Cooper Flagg, who could be the 3, Daniel Gafford, and Derek Lively. Already right there, that's like maybe the best front court, one of the best front courts in the NBA. Now, Kyrie Irving is a massive wild card next year because he will not be back till January or February from the ACL tear. I'll say February to be safe. He's 32, 33 years old. He's a smaller guard. What are the odds Kyrie is Kyrie again, at least next year. Sometimes we've seen with these ACL tears, it might take you a little bit of time to find your spots, to find your footing. Are you going to be cautious with every turn you make? Because that's a serious injury. Like ACL tears aren't what they used to be, but that still knocks you out of action for 10 months. That's a gruesome knee injury. He looks good like walking around at Summer League and stuff like that. And I think even if Kyrie is like 80% of Kyrie, like he's not as shifty getting to the rim. He's not going to score as much, but he's an elite shooter. Can hold his own defensively, like hold his own, but you can hide him with how many good defenders are on this team. That's fine going forward. Klay Thompson was fine last year in Dallas. We'll see if he regresses. We'll see if the defense continues to regress or the three-point shot could be a little bit better. PJ Washington, good 3-and-D piece, but he's an expiring contract. Does that give him more motivation? Or is he going to even be on this team after the deadline? Caleb Martin can't be as bad as he was with Dallas, but he was also banged up as well. That would be nice if that was Quentin Grimes, but right now it's not, right? It's Caleb Martin. Najee Marshall was great last year, finishing at the rim, scoring inside, was a reliable wing for them, and is under a fantastic contract going forward. Max Christie as well, a young wing for them that they got in the Luka Doncic trade. Looked really good right away, but when everybody was hurt and his workload went up and his usage went up, the efficiency dropped a little bit. Yeah, they were asking him to do a lot. Jaden Hardy was looking good as well before he suffered an injury. And I like the pickup of D'Angelo Russell until Kyrie Irving gets back. Because, yeah, D'Angelo Russell could be kind of like a no-no yes guy and try to be like, I'm going to take over this game. Low-key, the Mavericks may need that guy with Kyrie out. Because, yeah, it'd be nice to have an initiator, somebody like Tyus Jones or Chris Paul that can get everybody involved. But when Kyrie is out, you're asking Cooper Flagg to be like your legit number 2 next to Anthony Davis, and that is a lot. D'Angelo Russell, at parts of the game in the second quarter and the third quarter, can elevate the offense, and he could be somebody that takes over. He can also shoot you out of games, but I do think that's what they needed. So that's like a good, I mean, without Kyrie Irving, that's about 10, 11 guys, 12 guys basically, and with Kyrie Irving, that's like a good 12-man rotation, 13 real guys. And I like Brandon Williams at times last year. You still have Dwight Powell and OMP under contract. You got Ryan Nembhard on a 2-way. Like Dallas, I think, has a higher ceiling than Memphis next year, but what if AD misses 30 games? Now, Anthony Davis was healthy in 2024. He was healthy at the start of last year's season before the Luka trade. I still think he has a chip on his shoulder that he wants to showcase why he was the headliner in a Luka Doncic trade and was so good against Houston in his first game, and of course gets injured. And then he wants to prove Nico right. We'll see if they extend PJ, but they have flexibility to make a trade. I think this team's ceiling is actually like the 2 or the 3 seed in the Western Conference. Like this team could legitimately go 50-32. Like they could have a top 5 defense next year. Like I think that's fairly reasonable with the playmakers they have. The offense is going to come and go. I think you're going to, like Cooper Flagg needs to be serviceable enough as a number 2, and AD needs to be healthy enough as a number 1 for this team to go far. And AD is still a top 10 player in the league when he's healthy, but he needs to stay healthy. Hopefully we don't see too much AD regression. But last year, he had a couple different injuries in Dallas. The floor, though, I don't think, like, they're going to be a 13th seed in the Western Conference. I would say the floor is probably the 11th seed. Like, they just miss out on the play-in again. Last year, they were in the play-in tournament. But that's if, like, AD misses a ton of time. Cooper Flagg struggles as a number 1 or number 2. Kyrie doesn't come back till, like, end of February, beginning of March. And they're already bad then. And Kyrie doesn't look great off the ACL tear. Klay Thompson regresses. Lively kind of doesn't look like the same Lively in 24 with no Luka Doncic, and PJ Washington gets traded for no immediate impact player. It's just some like salary matching and a first round pick or just like draft capital. So, or somebody absorbs PJ with the trade exception. That's like the worst case scenario. D'Lo gets traded, but I do think this team, I think they're going to be like in the play-in at the minimum. Now, if you're a playing team, even if you're a 7 or 8 seed, it's not a guarantee you make the playoffs. I feel like we're going to see the Mavericks in the playoffs next year. Like, I don't think it's a guarantee that they're the worst team in Texas next year. I think Houston's probably the favorite, rightfully so. There's a chance. I'm not going to talk about San Antonio today, but I think they'll be fascinating with Wemby. But I do think Dallas can be better. So I think they have a higher ceiling and probably a higher floor than Memphis, who we talked about. But I'm just going to be locked into Mavericks games either way. I think they're going to, like, just watching AD a full season there, D'Lo in the mix, obviously Cooper Flagg. We get Kyrie Irving back at one point. They have maybe the best front court in the league. They're an incredibly deep team. They have a good head coach. And we'll see if Nico's vision can come true. And I also could have mentioned Dante Exum, another nice depth piece there. So next team I want to talk about, the Milwaukee Bucks, the first Eastern Conference team. I don't think they're going to be my favorite team to watch by any means, but I think they're just going to be a fascinating team to follow. And I mean, they could be like, there's a chance Milwaukee's like it's not impossible they're a 1 seed. I think Milwaukee probably has a better chance with Giannis in a weaker conference to be a 1 seed than Dallas or Memphis do in the West. But in my bold prediction video I made on my Sross channel, I don't think this is a playoff team unless a lot of things go right for them. So I believe it's on October 1st. Giannis becomes, if Spot Track is correct, extension eligible because he has a player option in 2028. Giannis essentially can be, wait, it's October 1st, 2020. Is that 2026? Yeah, okay. So okay, in 2025. So in 2026, Giannis can become extension eligible. So we won't probably see an extension at any point this year, right? Because he's not extension eligible. Next year, we'll get to that. But there's always the looming thing with Giannis. This team needs to perform. So Dame was not going to help them this year. They waived him. They pick up Miles Turner, who will be better next year than what Brook Lopez was for them last year. Kyle Kuzma can't be much worse, right? Like, he was bad. He was really bad last year. And I know I said KCP was bad for his dollar amount. Like, Kuzma was even worse. Bobby Portis, we know what he is. Last year, he had the suspension, and I think a lot of things, like, externally for him that affected his game. He's still a good floor spacing power forward that plays with intensity, and that's what this team needs. Now, Kevin Porter Jr. Was fine last year after the trade. He had his moments. Gary Trent Jr. had his moments in the playoffs as well. I like Ryan Rollins as a breakout candidate next year. I think he's a really good point of attack defender. He was good around the rim. If the three-point shot could be serviceable, they have a point guard there in Rollins. And then you have AJ Green's three-point shooting. You pick up Cole Anthony for the minimum. Taurean Prince was a good three-point shooter. Gary Harris can still play a little bit of defense. This is a deeper team than last year's Bucks team. I don't think I could show you guys last year's Bucks team, but it's, I think, much deeper than what they had. Like, they lose Brook Lopez, they lose Damian Lillard, which are notable losses, but I do think they have a little bit more depth, especially in the backcourt, which is huge. What are the odds that, I don't know, somebody like Chris Livingston or Andre Jackson or Tyler Smith gives them anything next year? It would be nice, but I don't know. A young player hasn't really broken out for the Bucks in quite some time. I guess Ryan Rollins is trying to define those odds right now. They also have Jericho Sims. I think, though, like, Giannis deserves all the respect. He's a top 3 player in the league and has been one for the last 8 or so years. Definitely for the 2020s. It's just like, if Giannis, God forbid, misses 20 games next year, right? Who's picking up the slack on this team? Now, it benefits them that they're in the Eastern Conference. Injuries are going to happen to other teams as well. But unless Kevin Porter Jr. or Ryan Rollins takes a massive leap, or Kuzma reverts back to like 2021 Kuzma in LA, or maybe some Wizards Kuzma. Miles Turner reverts back to 2024 Pacer Miles Turner, because he had a down year last year. This team is going to be a fun watch, man. Like, they have Doc Rivers. I just think, like, it could be a car crash, like, and it's just like you can't look away. It really could be. And then we're just, all signs are pointing to a Giannis, like, trade deadline trade, which we don't really see these guys get traded at the deadline. I'm trying to think, like, the last superstar to get traded at the deadline. I guess it's Luka. But the last guy, I don't know, like Luka, obviously, right? Yeah. So it's like Luka, who's actually like a top 5 player in the league, to get traded at the deadline. Like, Kawhi never got traded at the deadline. KD didn't get traded at the deadline. I'm sure there's somebody I'm just blanking on. Like, James Harden got traded at the deadline, but Giannis isn't. It's like top 3 player in the league. That's like Luka, obviously, like Juan Soto when he got traded from the Nationals to the Padres at the deadline. It would be crazy. It just feels like it's an offseason move waiting to happen. I think this team also has a wide variance next year. Like, they could be the 9th seed. They could be a 7 or 8 seed at the end of the regular season, but not make it out of the play-in tournament. That is probably their floor. Like, the East is too bad. I can't see the Bucks being worse than the 10th seed in the regular season. Like, that's, everything goes bad. Like, they're still making it to the play-in tournament, even if Giannis misses 20 games. I mean, if Giannis misses more than that, then we'll have a different debate or question. But you also need Philly to be better, Miami, Toronto. Like, those teams all need to take a leap next year. And you need Boston and Indiana to both be good next year as well. Like, so there's, I don't know, Milwaukee could sleepwalk their way to the play-in tournament. There's a chance they don't make it out of the play-in tournament. Like, that's not impossible. There's also a scenario where Giannis has the best year of his career. Kuzma bounces back, Turner's what they needed, and some of the young guards improved from last year, or some of just the guards in general, like Trent, Rollins, Porter, AJ Green improved from last year. Cole Anthony's good, and this team is a 2 seed in the East. Like, that's not impossible. Like, there is a vision for that for sure. I just think, like, the Giannis is always going to be fascinating to watch, like, what's going on with him. How does Miles Turner look on this team? And can one of the young guards, I gotta stop saying young guards, new guards, and Ryan Rollins is young, like, could they take a leap next year for Milwaukee? So I have my eyes set on the Bucks in 2026 for sure. Let's go back to the Western Conference. I want to talk about the Pelicans. what are the Pelicans going to be in 2026? A team that traded away the unprotected pick swap with Milwaukee to Atlanta to select Derek Queen, a good prospect in the 2025 NBA draft. Now, this roster, it's talented. It is talented for sure. There's a chance, I guess, they could become the 14th seed given how loaded the Western Conference is at the top and at the middle. But like, there's a lot of talent on this team. So let's run through it right now. A lot of notable additions. So they trade away basically CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk for Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey. They draft Jeremiah Fears in the top 10. They draft Derek Queen at the end of the lottery with the pick I just talked about. They added Kevon Looney this offseason as well. So this team probably rivaled like the Hornets, definitely the Suns last year, and the Lakers is like one of the worst center rotations in the league. Like we had to watch Daniel Tice at times. There was some Kelly Olynyk after the Ingram trade. There was Jeremiah Robinson Earl out there. There was obviously a rookie Misi who was very good for a rookie, a non-lottery rookie last year. Karl Matkovic got some minutes there. It wasn't a good center rotation. There were some moments, but everybody on this team was hurt. As hurt as the Memphis Grizzlies were in 24, that was the Pelicans in 2025. Same with like the 76ers. So Zion, I don't know, man. Like, if he plays 60 games, he's a top 15 player in the league. He's a borderline top 10 player in the league. But that is such a big if, and nobody can predict that. Nobody can. If we look at historic trends, Giannis is probably not playing 60 games next year. There's been a little bit of a back and forth thing. He misses some time. He plays more the following year. 25 years old, man. Like, I just hope he can play more than 60 games. I mean, Giannis right now is, 25 years old. He just turned 25 in July, so he'll be 25 throughout the whole season. It's like if Zion stays healthy, this team could be a playing team. They could maybe be a playoff team, right? If Zion can stay healthy. Jordan Poole was better last year for Washington than he was in 24. So his first year in Washington wasn't good. We'll see how his first year in New Orleans is. Now, New Orleans in 2026 should be better than what Washington was in 2024 for Jordan Poole. And he's making it like a decent amount of money, but he's still a fine player. And he probably will be better than CJ McCollum next year. I don't think by much, but will be better. DeJounte Murray wasn't good for them last year. And he had multiple injuries, tears his Achilles. He'll be back this year, but Achilles injuries, man, they're tough to come back from for sure. So even if he's bad, like you have Poole, you have like Herb Jones, who could be your backcourt at one point, who you extended a decent amount to. But Herb Jones last year was banged up, but he was so good in 24 defensively. He was good last year defensively, but just didn't get to play a lot. Trey Murphy was a big breakout guy last year, but he still missed like 20 plus games. He was great though. How does he look with Zion throughout a full season? What are the odds these two could play 50 games together? Oh my God, like the odds of that are probably like 20%, which is so sad, But Trey Murphy, really crafty shot creator, could be a 3-level scorer. I need a little bit more sample size from him as like a guy that can take the workload of a high-end 2, low-end 1 next year. Like I said, they had a terrible center rotation, and they add Kevon Looney, good rebounder, just a body out there, right? And it's a club option on the second year, which is good. So it's a 1-year deal. And they add Derek Queen, who, oh man, he's going to have his ups and downs this year, right? Like he's going to take some plays off. He's going to look not engaged defensively, but he's going to have some offensive moments where you're like, this guy could be like Alperen Şengün Light or DeMarcus Cousins Light one day. So you got to live with the ups and downs there. Jordan Hawkins, big year 3 for him. He was an NBA-ready prospect out of UConn in that 23 draft, and he's been kind of right? Like some inefficient shooting seasons, some injuries. It's not a guarantee that he's on this team at the end of the year. I like Karl Matkovic as a big man that can space the floor. You have Jose Alvarado, who's a good point guard option. So, like, even with Jeremiah Fears being a rookie guard who always tend to, like, shoot the ball poorly, be inefficient around the rim, because they're struggling, right? Like, it's rookie guard growing pains. Even if, like, he struggles and DeJounte Murray takes a little bit of time to come back, like a Jordan Poole, Jose Alvarado point guard rotation is not bad with like Herb Jones at the 2. Like that's not bad whatsoever. But if one of those guys gets hurt, then we have some issues. Saddiq Bey, another nice wing option. Like this team has depth, which is big because last year they didn't have depth. I like Micah Peavy in the second round as well. And then like Saddiq Bey, like as some wing depth. So this is a team that probably has a chance to be like the 6th seed at the end of the regular season. Like there is a Zion plays 65 games. Trey Murphy takes the momentum from last year into this year. One of Fears or Queens and all rookie first team. And Jordan Poole looks as good as he was last year. Murray comes back is fine, right? Like there is a scenario where this team could win 44 to 46 games. I would say their floor though is probably pretty, it's lower than Dallas and Memphis, who we've talked about in the West. I would say they can be the 14th seed, which is a shame. That is like absolute everything goes wrong. Like everything goes wrong for this team. I just think like They should be better than Utah next year. Like if they were better than Utah last year, they'll be better than Utah this year. So yeah, I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. I'm just excited to watch Zion healthy again. I'm excited to watch Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, I was watching at Maryland and Oklahoma last year. Herb healthy, Trey Murphy healthy, ready to go. They're going to be a fun watch in 2026, but they could also be an ugly watch if injuries happen again. So I talked about 3 Western Conference teams: Dallas, Memphis, and New Orleans. I'm going to talk about another Eastern Conference team to wrap this out. I'm going to talk about the Indiana Pacers. So 2 teams in the Central Division. I could have also talked about like the Toronto Raptors. I think are going to be a fun watch next year. How does Philadelphia look? Like they could definitely make this list. But I think like Boston as well with no Tatum. But I think Indiana is going to be an interesting watch. Like these are my 5 most interesting, intriguing teams next year. They're not going to be my favorite watches. They're not going to be the best teams in the world. But how does Indiana look without Halliburton and Miles Turner? Like, I know the Pacers fans are okay with Turner leaving, but hey, it's not a guarantee Jay Huff, James Wiseman, and Isaiah Jackson are going to replace Miles Turner or even close to what Turner's production has been for you since 2015. Halliburton is going to be a massive blow to the way that Rick Carlisle runs this offense. Run and gun, make your decisions under a second. You're either dribbling, passing, shooting. Do not hold on to the basketball. Make or miss, you are running the floor from an opposing team shot. And how does Nembhard step up with an increased workload? How does TJ McConnell at 33 years old look with an increased workload? Can Benedict Mathurin be in number 2 to Pascal Siakam in a contract year? Can Aaron Nesmith take an offensive leap? Do we have anything from former top 10 pick Jarvis Walker this year? Obi Toppin was good in the finals. Does he capitalize on that momentum? Does a Ben Shepherd or Johnny Furphy break out for this team next year? Yeah, like how does Jay Huff look in the increased workload? I mean, Wiseman and Isaiah Jackson had massive injuries last year for big men, so it's not a guarantee. They're going to look the part, at least not right away. I like Cam Jones in the draft. Taylor Peter probably does not miss whatsoever next year. Any shots from what he did at Liberty. Does this, like, the Pacers could be the 14th or, actually, I don't know. Like, there is a scenario, I can't see them being worse than Brooklyn or Washington. Like, there's a scenario Charlotte's better than them. Chicago's better than them, I guess. I don't know. I can't see this team being worse than Chicago is. I could definitely see Charlotte if they somehow take a leap. It's just the East is so bad, or at least it's so like non-top heavy. I would say Indiana's floor next year is probably, I guess it's the 12th seed, right? Like I can't see them being worse than Washington, Chicago, and Brooklyn, or at least replace Charlotte with one of those teams. So I'm going to say they can end up as the 12th seed. I'm going to say their ceiling though is probably around 7 or 8. Like they're going to be a high-end playing team at the best. Maybe they are the 5 seed. Like if Siakam's an all-star, Benedict Mathurin's a fringe all-star, Jay Huff, Jackson, and Wiseman replace Turner in the aggregate. One of Furphy or Shepherd takes a leap as a rotational player. Jarvis Walker finally takes a step as a defender and as a shooter, right? So there is a scenario where that happens, and McConnell and Nembhard can replace 80% of Halliburton or 85% of Halliburton. They'll be fine. I trust Rick Carlisle in the regular season. I think they're going to be a fun watch for sure because they're going to feel like a different team that was just in the NBA Finals. I think there's a chance like Mathurin does not shoot well with the increased workload. Does Aaron Nesmith want to have an increased workload in his role, or does he like what he is as a 3-point specialist? Can Nembhard be efficient? Because he was not efficient in the regular season last year. We know he's a playoff riser. He had an injury to start off the year. Will McConnell regress? So I don't know. This team has so many question marks next year that I think they're going to be fascinating in 2026. And that is going to be for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. If you did, I would appreciate you leaving a thumbs up on YouTube, and you can leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well. I really appreciate the support on the pod here. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more consistent over the next like week and a half, 2 weeks. We're in the dead part of the off season, but hey, we're going to start doing like some 2026 outlook stuff soon, which I'm excited for. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.